Okay, here we are now at the next step of the Old Air Products air conditioner installation. By the way, be forewarned that I'm going to put the air conditioning unit in and then, actually do some body work on the car. So it might be some time, quite a bit of time actually, before you start to actually see the entire installation. I'm going to make these videos in, several parts. But nonetheless, as I go, so I don't forget to do it, I'm just going to go ahead and make these videos. Anyway, so I got the fresh air block-off plates in. So take a look at those two previous videos that I did on that. Next step is going to be the actual installation of the firewall holding plate, mounting plate. So here's the hardware that came with it right here. And gonna put a 3-inch hole saw through the firewall. So this is what it looks like, so that you're aware. Right there. So that's the mounting plate right there. Now I had to poke a hole in my insulation so I could actually find where the holes were, because on this side you couldn't see it. But there are 3 mounting holes for that plate. These are factory holes. These are holes that are already in place. There's one right there, there, and there. I'm assuming that the hole is going to be drilled somewhere right here. Okay, now one other thing that showed up, or that happened. So in those instructions, when you read, it says to take the rubber plug grommets and put them in the old air conditioning spot where the evaporator used to be. This was a heater only car, so all I have is actually these 2 holes for where the heater core was. And it also says to do that as well, to use these little rubber grommets, etc., to plug those holes with. Now I've looked inside that entire box and all the packaging. I can't find any rubber grommet at all to fit in those holes, and I kind of did that while I wasn't really paying attention, because I had to install the plate. And then when I came over here to take a look at the size of those, to measure those, because I was thinking, well, I'll just go downtown and I'll buy something, right? Well, now I'm starting to think it's intentional, because as you can see here, this blocking plate right here blocks it. So I kind of wonder if that's how it's supposed to be. And because I have this insulation, this foam, or not foam, but the air bubble aluminized insulation there, and once I tighten that down, I'm pretty sure that's going to come against there pretty tight. That's going to seal it, really. And I don't care that looks like that. I mean, that looks fine to me. Now, if you're a little more particular and a little more picky, then yeah, you might want to have those grommets. But I'm telling you that on my 1971 Mustang, and the kit that I received, I have not found any grommets to plug those 2 holes there, and I don't care at this point. I'm going to go ahead and let that thing do all the plugging. So anyway, now I'm going to go around there and actually drill that hole, which I believe will probably go right through there. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough, and I'll let you know how it goes. Gonna pause it. And we're back. You can see here, this is the hole saw that I used. I got this over at Harbor Freight Tools. It was the only place that was open today on a Sunday. That drill was, this drill is pretty strong, and I had it actually on number 1 there. It did good, but I will admit it was at the limitations of that drill, actually, for that size of hole saw. So here we have it over here. Right there, sitting in the firewall, 3-inch hole. This one here, I was able to actually like scoot my seat way up so I could get up here and have some good weight to push on it. So what I tried to do, and I got the plate in here, and I tried to fit the blade inside of this mounting plate here, and I couldn't. The teeth on the hole saw are kind of splayed outward and inward, and they do that on purpose for cutting, you know. And I couldn't get it to fit inside of here. Otherwise, I would have left this plate on, because in my mind, if I can get it through here, it would be the absolute best as far as getting the holes to line up. Now you can see I did a pretty good job, but you can also see it's off just a snag. But what I ended up doing basically was I ended up taking that hole saw and pushing it in here, kind of like at an angle, at this angle, at the bottom angle, upper angle. And what that did is the blade punctured the insulation and it made a pattern, so I knew exactly where to be. So that's one advantage of having the insulation here in the car. I was able to mark it very easily. But like I said, what I really wanted to do, and you can see that I actually tried to run the drill right here, and it was starting to jump out because those splays wouldn't fit inside that hole that's already in this plate. And I didn't want to scratch the crap out of that, even though nobody really would ever actually see that, because it's going to be all covered up with the air conditioning unit here pretty soon. But you know, so I suppose if you run into this situation and you want to use this as your pilot and you don't care about scratching this up, I guess you could run it until it finally wears a hole in it enough to fit. It'll work. I mean, you'll certainly do it that way. But again, I just basically had the advantage of the insulation here. I kind of tore it up with the teeth a little bit, and then was able to take this off and then put it back into the same place, pull the trigger and start drilling. And I mean, I had that battery, the handle where you hang on to it, I had the battery up here, you know, because it was really torquing. And again, I was running on low speed, and it it was at the limitation of that drill, but it actually did it. I do have a 1/2-inch drill, and I suppose I could have went and got that, but you know, I made it work. But I will say this though, if you are thinking about you know, again, doing this with the dash still in or whatever, you're just, I do not see how this is going to work, honestly. I noticed how they keep the dash superstructure in some of these applications. In my opinion, the whole dash just has to come out, because everything that I've done this morning so far has been difficult enough, in my opinion, without even the dash in the way, except for over here, of course. That stuff was in the way. So there's the mounting plate in place, and once again, as I told you before, it uses 3 factory holes, and again, this plate is going to plug up these holes here, the old heater core holes, and I'm going to be fine with that. I am not going to cut this off. These are really long, a little bit longer than I'd like to have, but I'm going to wait first and until I get all this together and everything working before I do actually cut those off, because I just don't like them sticking out like that where you can bump into it and scratch your hand and whatnot. But I may end up using it actually to mount something, to, you know, hold a wiring harness or something like that. You never know what you're going to be doing really here down the road, especially in a custom application. I mean, things change a lot sometimes. So I'm going to actually leave those alone for now, but I will, I mean, I'm just showing you right now, you can see that they're really long. But this one over here is pretty short, and that's because this one here, the firewall, actually, as you notice, comes inward or towards the engine compartment, and even though that stud's just as long as those. So but again, got it all nice and lined up. It's going to work. And so this is going to conclude the video of the mounting plate, bracket, and 3-inch hole saw on a 1971 Mustang non-AC car. Like, subscribe, come back, we'll keep on moving.